Um, but let's start with Chase's side here. Chase is going to be running Incineroar, Yveltal, Kyogre, Tapu Lele, Imungus, and Crobat. So interesting slew of Pokemon. He's got quite a number of support Pokemon alongside the powerful pairing Kyogre and Yveltal. Opposing him is Groudon Yveltal, but Nick is packing Cherrim, Stakataka, Incineroar, and Tapu Fini as a support cast. So we'll see how this goes. Cherrim's Flower Gift ability, for those not in the know, it activates during harsh sunlight and gives everyone on the user's side plus 1.5 or 50% boost to attack and special defense. So that's essentially the same as a Choice Band and an Assault Vest at the same time. So if you're following along with that, let's say if any of Nick's Pokemon also has a Choice Band or an Assault Vest, they're getting 2 of those boosts. So 2 50% boosts, that's like a lot. So, but we'll see, because Cherrim, also known for its role as a supporter, has Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, a bunch of other shenanigans, can do some real damage with Grass Knot as well. So we'll see if Nick decides to bring it, or if he thinks the Weather War will be too important to give up. So he's locked in. We're gonna see what he can do here, as Chase gonna start locking in his Mons here, as I can hear the wonderful sounds of selection. Now for Chase, it's going to be important to keep Kyogre's weather up, and he's got a lot of tools to help him achieve that. Tapu Lele here could be helpful, but it doesn't seem particularly helpful against Nick's 6. And Crobat definitely looks like the more optimal option here, since it can possibly threaten Cherrim if it's carrying Brave Bird, which in this format might be, a real consideration, as a Lunala running around, you can't hit that with Super Fang at all, so Brave Bird is a good option to, hit everything, at least for some damage. As Chase going to go and lead Yveltal Crobat, with Nick leading Incineroar and Yveltal. So both Yveltal out on the field, and, looks like Nick's Pokemon are a little on the slower end, as Chase's Dark Aura activated first. Intimidate going to drop some of that attack stat, but not exerting any fake-out pressure on Crobat, since it usually carries Inner Focus with rare traces of an Infiltrator. Let's see what can happen here. I would expect a Tailwind, possibly a Knockoff. Even at -1, the utility of Knockoff is not paralleled by any other move other than maybe like Thief, or like Trick, I guess, could also work, but it definitely won't work on Dark if you're using it with a Prankster. So Knockoff here to start scouting items, getting rid of those berries, getting rid of some of the other items that might be on Nick's Pokemon. Could be something Chase goes for. On the same side, Nick could do the same thing with his Incineroar and his Yveltal. That's the one. Yveltal's going to go and Protect. Doesn't want to take any knockoff here. Just wants to make sure Tailwind goes up safe and sound. So here's the Tailwind for Chase. Very consistent. No fake out from Nick's side. Another Tailwind from Nick's side. So actually trading Tailwinds here as knockoff going into that Yveltal. So nothing really happening this turn other than the exchange of Tailwinds. And we're basically back to the same kind of position as turn 1, but this time they're just moving faster. So could be interesting position-wise to think about. We might see a switch from Nick's side. There's not really much doing there. I would expect maybe U-turn coming out from Incineroar to kind of reposition the field. Crobat could do some damage with Super Fang, but it misses the target. Another miss here, so knockoff going into Yveltal, gonna knock off that berry, so good work there. Oblivion Wing coming out. Rare move from Yveltal, but with all the grass types running around, I think it's a pretty decent option at this point in time. Doing a little bit of damage, but healing him right back up to full HP. So knockoff coming out into Yveltal as well. Gonna knock off whatever berry it had, if it had a berry, but nope, it's gonna be those black glasses to boost that damage output. So exchange of knockoffs here, and I think Nick ended up on the winning side of that trade. He lost the berry, but at full health, I don't think he really needs it right now. And, Crobat missed its Super Fang, which would have been really great to kind of do damage to Yveltal, but the miss, very unfortunate. It's the risk you run when you run moves that are slightly inaccurate, such as that. And now, Incineroar really not having much to do, might want to U-turn out or just raw switch. Maybe knock off into Crobat could be good to scout that item, but I would expect it to be better Focus Sash or Safety Goggles. They usually carry those items not really many Lumberries running around anymore these days. Seems to have fallen out of vogue. Super Fang gonna miss one more time, so Crobat needs to put on some pairs of glasses or something. Maybe use that echolocation. Knock off into Incineroar, gonna knock off that berry. So both berries knocked off on Nick's Pokemon, and Oblivion Wing targeting that Crobat for a nice chunk of damage. No healing, of course, because Super Fang didn't connect, and knock off into Crobat. So both players have knocked off all the items, and Crobat had the Lumberry. So actually, I guess it was Lumberry, not Goggles or Focus Sash. Supposedly to take Spores or something like that, but I mean, it is also pretty nice against Lovely Kiss if that ever comes up. But there's no Smeargles here or Jinxes, so I think you can assume there are no Spores or the like. Yeah, missing 2 Super Fangs is really, really unfortunate. Of course, the Yveltal is protecting, healing itself with Oblivion Wing. The whole 2 turns has been up, but Taunt gonna come out. Make sure Yveltal doesn't get to protect itself the following turns. Here's a Snarl. So we've seen the whole set on Nick's. Oh, no, we haven't. Actually, we've seen all the Snarl, Oblivion Wing, and Tailwind. So Crobat's gonna take the knockout here, and Flare Blitz from Incineroar just gonna start doing some damage, and both Tailwinds petering out. Alright, we're going to see Chase going to put in that Kyogre. We'll see what kind of Kyogre it is, but, you know, if it's Choice Scarf, this could be pretty good. He can get some damage this turn. Of course, be wearing a Groudon switching in and kind of eating it up with the sun. Yveltal here, not looking too great, especially at about half HP at a -1 stage of attack. But if it's going to catch a switch, now's the time to do it. So, you know, you can Water Spout here, pretty safe. Go for just like a double down, and then, you know, knock off for a potential switch in. That kind of thing is a great play from Chase at this point. Of course, you can always double out, switch Kyogre back in. We're going to see Nick go ahead for that switch. Here is, I think, Groudon. It's going to be that Groudon, so going to set up Sun, make sure Water Spout doesn't do that much damage, and Nick's Yveltal going to get off a pretty fat attack here, maybe. Water Spout coming out. It's going to do a lot of damage to Groudon, even at Sun. That's about half, but just under it. So here's the knockoff. Going to go ahead and smack Groudon switch in, so no more Berry on that one either. And Snarl coming out, hitting the Kyogre, really important there. Nice amount of damage, big critical hit. So that may or may not matter in the future. But for now, Kyogre is going to have to switch out if it wants to get that weather back. Alright, with Kyle, or not Kyle, Chase's Yveltal sitting at about 72 health. It can take out the KO on Groudon. I'm not sure if it can take much more abuse here, though. Definitely doesn't have the Black Glasses or Berry, so it's going to have to stay in and hope for the best this turn as Tapu Lele comes in, sets up the Psychic Terrain. It's going to have to take some damage, though. I would expect another Snarl from Yveltal. But actually, Nick's going to just draw Groudon back out, and he's going to throw in the Stack Attacker. So, pretty nice positioning here. Knockoff is going to go into the Stack Attacker. Going to knock off whatever it was holding. It's going to be those Goggles. As Oblivion Wing going to come out, target the Yveltal, and doesn't quite knock it out, but puts it in the range of a Sucker Punch should Nick be carrying. We've seen 3 of his moves, Snarl, Oblivion Wind, and Tailwind, so he could be carrying that Sucker Punch just for some security here. Looks like Terrain up, even though it is up, Yveltal flying, not affected by that terrain, so definitely within the range of a Sucker Punch right now. Chase is going to have to play really carefully since he has only 3 Pokemon left, and he's going to start taking some names if he wants to stay in this game. And, you know, Stack Attack are really threatening here. I think one of Chase's only outs is if he goes for some move like Focus Blast or hopes that does enough damage, which definitely seems like it. So here's the Psychic, and does enough to take it out. So Stack Attack goes down, doesn't get to do any damage here, but this Yveltal gets to fire off another Snarl. Misses the Yveltal on Chase's side. That could be huge. Now Chase gets to keep his Yveltal around a little longer. It makes it so it's not safe to bring in Groudon right now for Nick. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, bring in Groudon right here. Have Sun forever. But it's going to be that Incineroar back in for Nick. make sure Groudon comes in and get Weather last. And Tapu Lele can probably be choice locked, but it went after Yveltal, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's definitely not the choice variant. Either that or it's choice specs, which seems a little odd to me. So I would probably assume it is not choice anything. Maybe something like Twisted Spoon or Focus Sash, something along those lines, as we saw the Lumberry on Crobat. Yveltal gotta go and protect itself, doesn't want to take Fake Out, doesn't want to take anything at all, just wants to make sure it stays around. Here's Moonblast. Gonna go right for that Yveltal, gonna do some good damage, but, you know, with a Snarl damage, it's not looking great. Tailwind's gonna come up, and that might be the end of this game, since now Nick's got all the momentum. Knockoff going to connect into Tapu Lele, reading the Protect beautifully. That's a knockout here with Dark Aura helping it out. And, you know, you force the Kyogre in, and Tailwind is up, so I think, unfortunately, Chase will have to kind of take the rest of this game to think about Game 2 and kind of adjust to what Nick has done here. Well played on both ends, though I think just missing the Super Fangs cost Chase so much in the early game. That Yveltal could have been knocked out quite a bit ago if both of those Super Fangs had hit. Of course, Oblivion Wing providing the healing, but I mean, even then, it's not healing that much. Maybe about 30%, 20 to 30%, something like that. Since it is not that powerful of a move. And, you know, Groudon's going to come back in, set up Sun. It's perfectly happy to do so. Even if it will get knocked out. Alright, and Yveltal just going to go ahead and Snarl. That's going to hit both Pokemon here. Knock out Yveltal, do a good chunk to Kyogre, and Kyogre going to drop to -1 special attack. Not looking great. If it gets a bunch of critical hits in a row, still pull it back, but with Sun, it's not looking likely. Orchard Pulse probably going to take out the Groudon this turn, as it does, but does so little to that Yveltal. So I think Yveltal is clear, ready for liftoff, going to take the game from Chase, and Nick will be up 1-0 in this set here. Alright, and Chase is going to go ahead and lock in the forfeit here for Game 1. Just going to think about what he needs to do in Game 2 to kind of pull it back. The Yveltal on Nick's side, very oppressive with that Snarl, and really bulky, it seems. The Oblivion Wing option kind of allowing itself to heal up, so perhaps a bulkier variant of Yveltal. We saw it was also slower than Chase's Yveltal, which definitely kind of helped it in the long run, allowed it to heal after taking damage from Chase's Pokemon. And we saw the berry as well. I think all of Nick's Pokemon had berries, except for the Stakataka, so I wouldn't be surprised to see 5 berries on the rest of the other 2 berries on his other 2 Pokemon, as well as, you know, Goggles on the Stakataka. So, berries, really important item. That 50% heal is really nice, but you don't really need it if you're always healthy from an Oblivion Wing. For Chase, I think hitting your Super Fangs would be a good start. There's not much I can really say about that one, but maybe making sure your weather stays up, as well as having maybe Incineroar in the back to negate some of that damage he's taking from the attacks from Nick. Although I don't think Nick actually threw out that many attacks. It was mostly Yveltal snarling, throwing up Tailwind, and then allowing momentum to be redistributed to Nick's side here. Groudon didn't actually get to do much, and Incineroar got to knock off a few things, but other than that, didn't really do much. It was pretty much all Yveltal carrying Nick on that game. So if Chase can find a way to stop Yveltal from doing its thing, he might be in it for a Game 3. Alright, so I'm going to let these trainers pick their Pokemon here. Alrighty, and they're going to start Game 2 here. Now, interesting to note, we did not see any Fake Out from Nick's Incineroar. Of course, there's a lot of ways to stop Fake Out on Chase's side. He's got that Inner Focus, Crobat, Psychic Terrain from Tapu Lele, and a lot of ways to just not make Fake Out a very valuable option. So I would not be surprised to see Fake Out do nothing again and just having Incineroar do damage, as he leads Incineroar, Stakataka. A great lead for Trick Room, as Chase going to lead his own Incineroar and Crobat, so changing it up a little bit, making sure he gets some Intimidate onto Nick's Pokemon and stop their damage output from doing too much. As we actually see Chase's Incineroar Intimidate first, so that could indicate a little bit of a faster spread, maybe creeping a little on Nick's Incineroar, but you know, Crobat immune to that flinch with Inner Focus, so definitely free to go for the taunt and stop Trick Room at all costs, which I think is his priority. Of course, we saw the safety goggles, so no mental herb shenanigans here, but gotta watch out since I think Stack Attacka, even at -1 stage attack, can do a number on both of these rock-weak Pokemon with Rock Slide. So Chase is gonna have to play a little carefully around that. Here's the Fake Out. It's gonna go into Stack Attacka. And Taunt gonna go into Stack Attacka as well, so making sure it really doesn't get off any moves. Here's Knockoff. It's going to go ahead right into that Incineroar. Goodbye, Berry. And the flinch, of course. Alright, so not much happened other than Chase lost a Berry and Taunt went off into the Stack Attack. So now Nick is going to be attacking with that stack instead of setting up Trick Room. And you know, Incineroar -1 stage attack, not doing a whole lot, maybe clicking Knockoff one more time, but one Berry is not really helping Chase at all, so I feel like that Knockoff is not going to help Nick that much either. You get some damage for sure, but not going to help his position that he has right now. Alright, Super Fang gonna come out and connect this time, so hits that Stack Attacka for 50% of its health. Here's the Knockoff. It's gonna knock right off into that Stack Attacka. Goodbye Goggles. Knockoff into the Crobat. Gonna take out that Slumberry we saw earlier. And here's a Rock Slide. Alright, connects with both Pokemon. Does a good number on both, but no knockouts or anything. Just good damage. And Nick's Stack Attacka is not looking that great. It's definitely within range of another Super Fang plus attack combo. But you know, you can't just let Incineroar do its thing. I think another Knockoff or Flare Blitz will take out Crobat, and that might be really important since that's your only source, or I think Chase's only source of Tailwind support, as well as support in general if he brought his 2 restricted legendaries. Incineroar on Chase's side doing some work. Might want to go for the Knockoff onto Incineroar if he predicts that Stack Attacka goes out. Of course, there really is no drawback to just Super Fanging and attacking it again, since even if he does switch out, whatever comes in takes all that damage from Super Fang. So here's the Super Fang, goes into Stack Attacka, here it is, Nom, and Flare Blitz. So I think Stack Attacka is going down this turn, which means no Trick Room for Nick. Could spell trouble if he didn't bring Yveltal, but it's hard to imagine he wouldn't bring it after what it did in Game 1. Here's another Flare Blitz from Nick's side this time. And it's going to take the KO on Crobat here. So both sides trading KOs, leaving their cats on the field, but one cat is considerably healthier and still has their berry. So unless Chase can deal with that effectively, I think this might be in Nick's favor for the most part. Here's Kyogre going to switch in as Nick switches in Groudon. So I think that means the sun will be up, since if Nick was trying to set up that Trick Room, it probably means Groudon's a slower variant. And now we do see Drought go after Drizzle, so Sun will be up here. Both Mons are, of course, weak to water, so still have to watch out for that damage. But with Precipice Blades on the table, these things aren't looking great for Chase. He's going to have to take some damage with his Kyogre or lose his Incineroar. And I don't know if he can afford either of those things right now. I think preserving Incineroar might be a priority at this point, since you could use it to lower the attack of that Groudon. Kyogre also still has Ice Beam and Origin Pulse to work with, but I mean, in Sun, it's not a happy fish, for sure. Not a happy fish at all. Alright, just a raw Water Spout in Sun. Sun boosted Water Spout coming out and doing about half to both Pokemon, so that's not bad. And Precipice Blade's gonna come out, miss Incineroar, huge miss for Nick right there. He really needed that to take out the Incineroar, so Kyogre gets locked in here with the Water Spout. And Flare Blitz gonna come out, also hits that Groudon, but it's gonna proc the berry, so really unfortunate. Should have maybe knocked off first before getting that Flare Blitz off, but you know, sometimes that damage looks really tasty, just like that berry. And Knockoff going to come into the Kyogre. Gonna take it down to right outside of the red zone and, you know, knocks off that Choice Scarf. So it was a Choice Scarf variant on the Kyogre. But now that it's not locked into Water Spout anymore, it might be okay to just stay in and fire off an Ice Beam. So pick and choose your battles, I suppose, but maybe Flare Blitz was the better option there. Kyogre's going to come back out. Doesn't want to take it just yet. Wants to be able to set up that weather, as Incineroar's going to go ahead and tank it out. Hopefully dodge other Precipice Blades, as Nick's own Incineroar are going to switch out into that Yveltal. So Yveltal coming back in, and it's Yveltal versus Yveltal one more time. Very odd mirror match. It's not like Xerneas, where whoever gets their Geomancy up first usually takes the win. Another dodge from Incineroar. Man, these Precipice Blades have been missing all day, dude. And another Flare Blitz into Groudon, putting it in low health and putting Incineroar inside its barrier range, but remember, that got knocked off. So Yveltal on Nick's side looking really pretty. Ready to do some snarling and Oblivion Winging and Tailwinding and all that thing, you know, things that Yveltals do as a big bird. Incineroar still sticking around means that, you know, Chase has that switching power, but do you really want to switch here and allow Nick to get off some damage with Snarl or Oblivion Wing or get up a Tailwind? These kinds of things are things that you should think about when thinking whether to switch. Chase is going to switch his Groudon for Incineroar, so making sure that Groudon sticks around, take advantage of those Tailwind turns later, knowing it might be one of his only ways to beat the Yveltal on Chase's side here, as Chase's Yveltal goes for the sweet knockoff. Gonna get that berry out of the other Yveltal here, as Tailwind does go up. So Chase not switching that Incineroar, being real stubborn with that Incineroar. He's gonna go ahead and U-turn. So he is gonna switch, that's for sure, and get a little bit extra damage for free, you know? And that's great for Chase. He can switch Incineroar back in if he wants to preserve that Kyogre. Of course, he's most likely going to lose the Incineroar if it comes back in this early. I don't think either of those two Pokemon have Protect, though, so it's definitely a hard call to make. But with Yveltal sitting really healthy, it might be okay, as long as he gets to knock off all the berries and all that good stuff, you know. Good Yveltal things. Alright, let's see what happens here. Chase is really thinking hard about who he wants to throw away this turn. Kyogre or Incineroar. It's a hard decision for sure. Alright, Kyogre is going to switch out. So Chase decided Incineroar ultimately not that important in this matchup. Just needs to come in so it takes the hit on this first turn of Tailwind. But I mean, still 2 more turns to stall out with no Protect on the other Pokemon, so this is a really tough call here. Oblivion Wing gonna come out and target that Incineroar for a knockout. So it's really hard to say if Chase can pull it back, but it's definitely not looking doable at this moment in time, barring maybe like a knockoff crit right here or something like that. So knockoff is going to knock off that berry. No crits though. So, and knockoff, just going to knock off the black glasses from Yveltal. So this is definitely going to end up being Yveltal versus the world, I think. If that had gotten a critical hit, you know, puts Rain up since it doesn't have the Scarf anymore, and Groudon is in Tailwind. So I think Chase just really needed that to be a critical hit, and that was pretty much the way he was going to get back in the game, and he didn't get it. So I think this is looking pretty much over, unless Nick decides to leave Kyogre for some reason. I can't imagine him doing that, since he's going to go ahead and reset that Rain. Alright, and Oblivion Wing gonna come out, target that Kyogre, eat up that whale fat, and goodbye, Kyogre. You tried your best. I know you did. But, you know, even with 2 Precipice Blades missed, it wasn't enough. And Foul Play coming out here for Yveltal. Gonna target that Yveltal, but, you know, seeing as it's only shown special attacking moves, I'm gonna go ahead and make a safe assumption that this Yveltal doesn't actually have any attack investment. And you see there, Chase probably going for the forfeit, doesn't want to drag it out any longer than it has to be. wants to go eat. By the way, we have a lunch break. We'll be back at around 1:45. You might catch some people playing Mario Party, but you know, people are going out to get food, so you might not catch anyone doing that. You might be looking at the practice minigame for a while. So, fair warning. Come back at around 1:45, and we'll see you then.